Hey everyone, this is Linni from Linni and the Search. Since the last episode, I've been thinking a lot and I wanted to share a little bit of my more spiritual side. I don't know where it comes from. I've really never been a very spiritual person. And like I said a couple podcasts ago, I was raised very, very religious. Every Wednesday was prayer service. We read from the Bible and we would sing old Negro spirituals. My mom would go online, find old slave spirituals, print them out, and when we would sit together, she would hand them out. And we would all have like 5 or 6 pages, and we would sing these songs that were hundreds of years old. So yeah, that was my life. And Sundays we went to church, and God, it seemed like we were always in church or reading the Bible. But I say that because I didn't know there was a spiritual side of life, or if anything, I thought it was religion, and that was it. After my mom passed, it seemed I would be opened up to that, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain. When my mom was alive, I didn't do a lot of things. I didn't read a lot of things. I wouldn't even entertain the thought of a lot of things because I felt like I was wrong. And more so, my mom was the type to call almost every other day asking, are you praying? Are you reading your Bible verses? Are you doing things to help others? Like it was almost like a job, and it drove me mad, as I feel like it would anyone. So I removed religion completely from my life. And then finding psychedelics and doing them, I became a very, very spiritual person, or being, I guess. I say that because I like to think about the things at play, the things we don't understand, the energy, the force, universe, God, whatever you want to call it, all the things that give us hope. Things like that, like praying to God or praying to the stars, whoever you may pray to. The things that we can't see but we totally believe in. It opened me up to that. Jesus. In a way I wish it didn't. At times, I'll just be minding my own business, and it seems I'll get swelled with emotion and energy, and all I want to do is hug people and give love and let people know that they're okay. And it's weird because I've never been that kind of person. I've never really cared about the goings-ons of others. It seems like I'd always had my brain and my eyes in my own space, doing my own thing. So all of this, all the changes I've been experiencing have been contrary to all the things I believed myself to be. So I guess, I find myself here. When the bear came, that, like I said, challenged me, and it gave me strength, and it gave me courage to believe in myself. But being on this side of that fucking night, I like to subscribe. Is it subscribe or is it upscribe? I don't know. I like to just put spiritual meanings on things, and that is one major one that I try to put meaning onto because it really didn't make any sense. A couple, like the year before I moved there, the guy who Specs hired, he was there that year before, and he had said at no point did he ever hear or see a bear while he was there. Now, granted, he did have a dog with him, so maybe the dog scared the bear or kept the bear from wandering around there, or any other animals perhaps. I don't really know how that works, but having him say he had never experienced that, And then me being there for 3 days, my first time there and experiencing a bear coming up and eating everything was crazy, and what's even crazier is my second day up there at the cabin. It was raining, and again, I'm a very much, or at least I used to be, a very like city-oriented person. I never cared too much about outdoors or anything like that. So again, this is very strange for me. I was sitting outside and just listening, I guess, to like tribal music, or world music, I guess it's called. I don't really know. But all of a sudden, I decided to walk down to the greenhouses and put my hand, and this is going to sound absolutely crazy, and trust me, I know how crazy it sounds. I know how crazy I probably look to any creepers who may have been spying on me when I was at the cabin, if there were. I would walk next to each greenhouse, put my hand on the soil and grab the soil and pick it up in my hand and hold my hand on the soil and say a prayer to any of, again, I know how crazy I probably look and sound, and I feel even worse because I don't know anything about Native American culture or history. I love it. I love the things I do know, but that's like this much. So that's why I say I don't know anything. But I started praying to spirits. I started praying to the Mother Earth and asking that in my time of fear, I be comforted. And each greenhouse, I would say the same prayer. Please guide us, guide this farm, spirits out here, and either let these grow, because I know these plants can be used for people's health. And don't get me wrong, while I was saying this prayer, I was also saying, yeah, I also want to get paid. Like, I'm not fucking with you, animal spirits and native spirits and universe. I needs my money, but also know I'm doing this because I want to help people. But I'm also afraid. I need a sign. Please give me a sign, because I feel anxious. I'm greatly depressed, and I have no idea what the next 6 months of my life, maybe even a year, looks like. So please, just give me something. And then the very next day happened, and the bear showed up and was there for like an hour and a half and did, if you want to know more about that, I would suggest listening to episode 2. But again, being on this side now, I do believe, whether they were spirits, whether it was God, whether it's the universe, whether it's just an energy with no name, I believe something heard me and something knew my heart was real and my heart was right. I personally don't care to speak if I feel anything of substance to say. And being as, I guess, mystical oriented and spiritual oriented, I wouldn't pray to something unless I believed my heart and my prayers to be true to me. I don't fuck around with forces like that. Like, not because I'm afraid of them, but partly because I am, because I don't know. And I don't think I'm just not going to test those waters. I'm just that guy who's like, I don't fuck around. The reason why I feel like this was like a more spiritual encounter now is not only because just literally the next day after I walk through 6 greenhouses and make these prayers touching on this the soil and the dirt and the trees, then this bear shows up and it's walking around, and it at the time looked like it was guarding the food and all the stuff around my house. But now I'd like to believe, which, this is my own personal belief, is that it was protecting me. After this all went down, I had really researched. I had read a lot about bear meanings. I mean, I went down the rabbit hole. I looked up folklore and myths and legends, and a lot of them came up with the same thing. The bear means strength, courage, protection, Native Americans, the claws were worn as necklaces, bear claws, and those claws were thought to give the wearer, to imbue them with powers of strength and courage and knowledge. And it's funny because that was the first part of the bear I saw not standing when I saw the eyes before it really came up, was the paw. The paw that was placed up against the window. And when I would go on to read about what the claws mean and all that, it made me feel good. It made me feel like, even though it probably was just another coincidence, it made me feel like there was meaning behind it, which in turn made me feel better, like my life had meaning behind it, if that makes sense. And then I think about the fact that in reality, calling that situation back in my mind, the bear never really came too close to the door, never made any movement like it wanted to actually come inside. Granted, I had other food inside. I had a ton of food inside because I'm stupid like that. I didn't put anything in a lockbox, nothing. I just had food inside, a door that was made of like plywood or something. And it just circled around the house, breathing, roaring, doing bear stuff. But I felt really good after the fact. In the situation, I was terrified, like I said, and it was the scariest shit that I ever experienced. But now, I feel good. I feel like I was heard, and then I was chosen to be a part of some weird, mystical moment, at least in my life, where I would learn courage for myself, where I would learn strength for myself, and that gave me power and belief in myself. And these are like key things that this bear represents, and it was sent to me. And what's even crazier is that wasn't the first time. I had another run with the bear under the same fucking circumstances, you guys. So like a month after, I was in a bad place. I mean, the whole time I was in a bad place, but it seemed like I was just in a really dark place. And instead of walking through the greenhouses, instead of any of that kind of stuff, I was just in the cabin. And I was really sick. I had a fever, body aches. I felt just, fatigued and nauseous. I didn't have no COVID or any shit like that. I thought I did. I know we all probably thought we did. Even if we sneezed for no reason, we probably think we got COVID. I know I didn't have it. My symptoms only lasted about 3 days, but in that time, I was terrified that I did. So again, I went outside and sat on the ground and just prayed and called out to the spirits again. And when I say call to the spirits, you got to understand, like, I'm no shaman. I'm not even well versed in Googling things. Like, sometimes it'll take me forever to research something because the mechanics of how the internet works. So I'm just sitting here calling out spirits that I don't even know, like spirit of the wind and spirit of the trees and oh beautiful mountainside and oh God in heaven. I'm just saying anything and everything I can. I'm saying help. I'm hurting. My body hurts. I feel like I'm sick. Please don't let this be this virus that the news is going crazy about. Please don't let this be my end, because I'm hearing males, females, people in my age group are getting this and dying. Healthy people like myself. So I was very scared. Very scared. So, God, was it 2 days? Or was it 3? I think it was 3 days. No, it was 2 again. Yeah, so it was 2 days. So I say that prayer, and then 2 days later, I'm in the cabin. It's about 7 o'clock this time. It's not so late. And this time, not even as sly as the first time. This fucking bear just strolls up the porch like he owns the fucking place. Like he literally just walks up the porch, and I'm just like, is this fucker serious? Like we just did this. Well, not really. I mean, we did this a while ago, but that's enough for me to last a whole lifetime. So I don't need this. And in that moment, I wasn't afraid. In fact, it was the total opposite. One of the guys ended up getting me a knife with the blade, or like a Rambo looking fucking knife, which dates me because it's Rambo, but that knife was huge, and he told me it was for to protect myself. So when I saw that bear this time, I wasn't afraid. In fact, I don't think I've ever ran towards anything with such clear intent in my life, to protect myself. I mean, the bear was minding his business, though. It was walking up the porch like he owned the house, and so I just swung the door open, grabbed my knife, and I ran towards it. And the bear saw me and turned around and ran down the porch into the woods. And I didn't really know what to think then, because part of me was really annoyed. I was like, all right, I guess this is just going to be a thing. I'm going to just be harassed by a bear. Like I'm just out here doing my thing, but I'm going to be harassed, I guess. So that's cool. I don't know. When I went back inside, like I felt really good. You know, like how you feel when you lift, when you destroy your prior weight that you bench pressed or squatted, you know, and then you do it and you get that huge feeling of like accomplishment, and like your blood and just everything feels like it's not boiling, but just you just feel alive, you feel invigorated. And I felt that, like after I came inside, I was just like, damn, who is this person? You know, I was like, go ahead, me, like fucking running down bears and shit, like I'm a killer now. I'm definitely not a killer, but I kind of felt badass. I mean, again, for me, something like that is monument. Like I don't do stuff like that. Never in my life would I chase a bear down. Like if a dog was running at me, I wouldn't run at the dog. Like fuck that, I'll get the hell out of the way. Like that's always been my dad told us, like if you see trouble coming, you get out the way. And that was always been my life. Anything, you know, like I guess you could say I was more on the fearful side of life, being in fear of things and confrontation and problems, or just being attacked by fucking animals. Like I was always afraid, and this was really the first time that without hesitation I would just go, you know, go, because I was done. I said, look, I'm not going to be terrorized. Like I refuse. Like I understand I'm in this bear's place, or the wilderness area. I understand that I'm out here with a lot of animals, but I'm not going to be terrorized. I'm not going to have something coming here all the time thinking it just eat and do whatever the fuck it wants. It's just not, you know? And so all that was just going through my brain when I went back inside the house. And now again, being on the other side of that, I think it was more mystical. I think the bear came back to show me that I wasn't as sick as I thought I was, that I wasn't as in much pain and as scared as I thought I was. You know, the first time it showed up, he, she, or you know, whatever the bear's pronoun is, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I couldn't think. I didn't know what to do. Probably couldn't even spoke. I don't think I even really said anything outside of the "who will protect this house" mantra that I guess I gave myself that day. So I look back on that time with reverence and with a great deal of respect, because I know, at least in my life, I know without a shadow of a doubt that something heard me and sensed something's been watching out for me, and I couldn't tell you the name of that thing, but I really believe that in my confused probably manic prayers, that there was a person who really needed help, who really needed belief in himself, who really needed to know that whatever the distance is, he can go, he can do it, and he can do it with courage and strength. And again, that the second time the bear came, that was solidified in me. And I just really like to put a little spiritual spin to that because I needed it, you know? The human in me at times needs like a fun story or something to believe in to make a moment not seem so terrible, terrifying, to not seem so life and death. If I could put this spiritual spin on it, maybe I have meaning. Maybe my greatest fear of not belonging, not adding up to something, maybe that's just noise. Maybe underneath all that noise and just, I guess, ignorance, there's something real. Maybe something beautiful, I don't know. Like, even now, months after the fact, it's still weird and hard to think about. But I'm so thankful, so incredibly thankful that it happened. And I really won't question if energies or, I guess, spirituality is real, if there is something on the other side or whatever, sky, space, that's watching out for us, each and every one of us. Oh, man. Yeah. Well, this has been Linni in the Search. Take my hand, lead